Free me, baby, let me go. Turn me loose from your love. Free me, baby, let me go. Turn me loose from your love. Free me, baby, let me go.
So Yusuf, as you know, we're doing some series on some athletes and their careers and trying to get into what it took for them to get there, what it meant to them, things of that nature.
Sure.
So I want to start a little bit by you giving us a little bio of who you are.
Quick bio of me is, I'm from Springfield, born and raised in Springfield. Raised right here, 9 Kenyon Street. What else? Played basketball,
Right.
went to New Leadership.
Right.
Quick bio, and went on to college, and now just coming back and trying to help out as much as I can.
Okay, so that's the athletic part of it. So what about your siblings? How many are you the only child? How many siblings?
No, I had 4 sisters and 2 brothers.
Okay.
One younger. So we all grew up right here in this house here. I had my mother, single mother, for a lot of my years. She ended up remarrying, and then had my little sister, Bilquis,
Okay.
who's another big name from the city. And then so that was it. It was kind of like a single mom for a lot of my life, and she raised all of us, Muslim and to be good kids in the city.
So let's talk about that, because
Yep.
even though that's you say a brief bio, but that meets so many of the children that we know today.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, male
Sure.
or female.
Right.
So would you say it was a fatherless home? Or would you say, well, better yet, do you know who your bio dad is?
I do.
Okay.
He passed away when I was 4 or 5 years old.
Okay.
A lot of men in the 80s. He got caught up with the drugs and everything. So, he ended up passing when I was 4 or 5. So, my mom took over from there. And like you said, it does. It's a lot of kids that I see growing up that's in basketball that have the same story. Single mom or single father, or so yeah, I think it's definitely relatable to a lot of kids within Springfield.
So do you think that situation is one that, would you say, inspired you or motivated you to get involved with organized sports, in particular basketball?
Yeah, for sure. I think my mother was always looking for positive role models to kind of put in our lives, and she found that in the community center Dunbar where I was at.
Yep.
You, Mike Rux, Charles Rux, a lot of these guys, and she found that, and I think that's what she was looking for.
Would you say it's an absolute necessity for youngsters, to male or female, to join boys and girls clubs and community centers and things like that? Do you think it's
Yeah, I think it's helpful. I think it's helpful. It gives you, like I said, you meet good people there. Whether it's a coach, whether it's someone working there, and a lot of these people, they're there on their own time, so they putting in effort, putting in time from their daily life. You know what I mean, to help you out.
That's right.
So it's definitely a helpful thing, and then you get to see, you know what I mean, when you're from here, you get to see people doing it different ways than you.
Right.
Like for your case, I remember you going there and helping out, and you had a totally different story from anybody that I knew in terms of going to college and doing it the right way. So it's helpful. You get to see that stuff, and you're not just locked in within your community.
So school, let's talk a little bit about that. I understand that you were homeschooled.
Right.
Talk a little bit about homeschool. Like, how was it introduced to you? Was it something that was just a part of the family, and you kind of seen your older siblings do it?
Right.
And you already knew that was coming, or was it sat down and broken down to? Like, how did that?
So my mother, she was a teacher in Springfield, and she was in the public school systems, and she didn't like the way it was run. So I think she decided from there that she was gonna, teach all her kids at home. So I think she teamed up with a couple of her friends, and everybody in my family was homeschooled up to a certain point. So I was expecting it. I knew it was happening. I was in it since I was born, really.
Seeing the older siblings, seeing everybody.
Everybody was
So
there.
you already
Yeah,
knew
everybody
it
was there, and it was other families too.
Oh, really?
It was other families too. So
Okay.
she teamed up with a couple of friends, and they would bring their kids, and then you would go to your mother for. I would go to my mother for English, math, and then I would go to somebody else for whatever other subject.
So it felt normal.
So it was structured. It was
Yeah.
structured. It felt normal. I never knew public school, so it was normal to me.
Interesting.
Yeah. So we did that until I was in 7th grade.
Now, you say she didn't like the public school. Now, are you talking about the academics portion of it, or was the behavioral supervision of it, or both?
I think it was both. It was both because, it's public school, you get the big classrooms, and then peer pressure. You know what I mean? You doing what the other kids do, talking, skipping class, skipping school. Who knows what it is? But I think that was on her mind, and she knew, she was trying to keep us away from that.
So now, talk to the young people at home about, everybody doesn't want to do their homework for some reason, even
Right.
though we know it's a necessity. You have to do your homework so you can show that you're learning what you're learning from the teacher.
Right.
How was that for you? Could you miss a homework? And if you did, like how did that go down?
Same thing. I mean, you miss a homework, you're not playing Nintendo.
There you go.
You're not going outside.
There you go.
You're not going to basketball practice.
Right,
So,
right.
and it's tough to get away with stuff like that, because it's your mother.
That's right.
So she knows.
And
so
she
it-
knows when she gets a report from the friend, it's accurate.
It's legit. You know what I mean? You can't fight it. You can't fight
It's
it.
not Mr. Kenny doesn't like me in English.
Right.
No, this
Right.
is my friend.
Exactly.
You did what you did.
Exactly. So I mean, I think it had its negatives and its positives. A couple of negatives is you're not as social. You know what I mean? You don't see, you're not with friends. You're kind of stuck within this area. You know what I mean? Because after school, you're right in the backyard. So you're not really branching out. But the positives is I think it really taught me, and you don't have to go by the school's curriculum. So she taught us a lot of stuff about life, how to treat people, how you expect to be treated. There's a lot of things that she did where I felt like it was a positive.
Sounds like youth development. I
Yeah.
totally agree with that. A lot
Right.
of times, I think in the school curriculum we don't talk enough about single parenting.
Right.
We don't talk about socialism
Yeah.
and things of that nature. How to get along with each other.
Yeah.
It's kind of brought to you on the trial and error. If you mess up, you go see the principal.
Exactly.
As
Exactly.
opposed
You
to-
love me, baby. Let me go. I'm in love, baby. I'm your love. I got to tell you, listen, I know. I'm in love. I know. I'm in love.
There was a fence here, Ed, so we ripped the fence down, so we made this.
You ripped the fence down.
Yeah, we did. So we had this whole little area, and where was the hoop? The hoop was right here.
Right.
So the hoop, if you look right here, the hoop was here. We nailed it up there to the wall,
Okay.
and then
Was this dirt?
Nah,
Was
this
it
was all.
grass?
And let me tell you, this was all dirt. So this wasn't here. This was all dirt. So what we ended up doing, we grabbed. We found rugs, big area rugs,
Smart.
and we put it over the dirt, all over.
Smart.
So it wasn't leveled. It
Yeah.
wasn't anything.
But you got a little bit
But
of
we got
solid surface.
we got a little solid surface. The hoop was there, and this was our court, and we played it. That's where I first started playing at.
Was there any organizational instruction back here?
Nah.
Or just kind of survival of the fittest?
Like I
learn the
said,
game
it was
as you may.
learn the game. It was no training. It was no, dribble with your right hand, cross, do this. No, it was just
You knew to
like
put
I
the ball
said.
through the hoop.
Yeah, you play with who I was playing with my older brothers. We were playing 21 Harlem ball, where you can foul, get away with fouling.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's where I learned, to be competitive and to compete back here.
So it sounds like you didn't win many games back here.
No, I didn't win. I was small. I was always smaller, but you know what I mean? I hit a good shot here and there. And
So now, okay, so that's the basketball aspect. Was there any other sports back here?
we did everything. We did football. We were flippers. Low key, I was probably.
So now,
I was the
flippers.
best. I was the best flipper. Ed, no lie. I was the best flipper in Springfield.
So
And
explain what that means, flippers.
Just flipping. Flipping.
So you're
Flipping
like,
in the
run,
hood.
jump.
You find a mattress, a dirty mattress from somebody who left it on the side of the street. We'll bring it back here. We had a playground set that we broke down, a plastic one, and turned it into a trampoline.
Really?
And you would run and flip off of it. And we would, we would compete with like kids up the street, come down and just straight flipping.
Where was the structure behind? Because it sounds really dangerous.
It is.
So it sounds really.
It is.
So you run, you jump, and you're jumping in there, you're flipping. What was the structure behind that?
There was no structure.
Nobody ever got hurt?
I'm sure they did, but it is what it is. That's all.
Part of it.
It was another way to compete.
Yes,
You know what I mean? It was another way to compete.
That's true.
And then, I had my older brothers. They would always push me to do like certain things or try this, and I would go out there and try it. But yeah, we used to do a bunch back here, man. Every sport you could think of, we did back here. It was in the hood. You got to be resourceful. So we would have we would have dirt bomb fights. I'm not sure if you know what that is.
Not a dirt bomb fight.
Dirt. It's crazy. It's crazy. You literally dig up dirt and use dirt as like a water balloon.
So you squirt the dirt at people?
No, you pick up dirt chunks from the ground.
Unbelievable. You toss it. Okay.
Yo, we were crazy, but I'm telling you.
You had fun.
But you had to do it, man. When you ain't got, you ain't got money, you got a lot of kids, you just make your own fun,
Baby, let me go. I'm in you, baby. I'm your love. I got to tell you.
We're at the famous Dunbar Community Center.
Yeah.
With that being said, let's talk about some of your times here at Dunbar Community Center. Coming up, playing informally.
Right.
We'll talk about the teams in a bit, but informally, just coming here, competing on a daily basis.
Right.
As you know, our famous days were Monday and Wednesday basketball, after school basketball.
Right.
Let's talk about some of those times.
I always remember being the younger dude coming in, you know what I mean? Because I was I think I came here when I was like 6 or 7 with my brothers.
Young, yeah.
My older brother was 2 years, and then my oldest brother was, I think, 4 years. So I was always the youngest one. And I was always on the sidelines watching when y'all played.
Yeah.
And, I would get in the game here and there and run into the corners. I wasn't really doing much. But I used to always observe and watch other people, especially the older kids, and, try to take their moves or just watch them play. Like, I can remember going down the line of, like, all the people that I remember watching and stealing something from them. Like, my brother, he had a left-to-right crossover that he used to do.
Yeah.
I remember him doing that. I used to go home and try that.
Which brother are we talking about?
Suleiman.
That's right. That's for the record.
Who else? Tremaine Lowe.
Yes.
Tremaine Lowe was at Putnam.
Yes.
He had his little hezzy. He used to do a hezzy,
Yeah.
and it used to always work. So I used to try to do that move. Shay had his running crossover.
When we say Shay, we talking about
Vishay Davis.
Yeah.
Vishay Davis had his running crossover, and then it was like a couple kids older than me, like Titus, Rashad, that was always
Very good
competitive.
players.
Yeah, exactly. So I remember watching them and competing with them when I was younger and just stealing their moves. Whether it was you was in there hitting the red line threes. You was hitting the red line threes. I remember all that. So I was always observant during the pickup runs and until I got older.
Right.
But that's the memories that I have from here.
What did you think about? What was your thoughts on the essence and the passion of the game?
Oh, it was competitive in there. It was competitive. I think that's where you learn it, is the community centers. You learn that to compete, you lose, you got to get off. And then you get the back and forth talk. I think this is kind of what makes a basketball, makes or breaks them. Like, if you have stuff like this, where you can go and just compete and play, is huge. And I wish there was more stuff like this nowadays. I think it's a lot of training involved now, but they miss this aspect where you're in there competing with like the best players from your age group on a daily basis. Yeah, so I think the passion, the competitiveness, it's learning from here, from Dunbar. That's where I learned it.
So now let's talk about those years. So 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 years, those years.
Yeah.
Now, what would you say was some of the memorable things that happened within those age groups and teams? One, who did you play with and on those teams that you're still close with to today?
Yeah.
Those things.
So once I reached like 11, 12, that's when we got our own little squad. Like, you know what I mean? We got our own squad. It was me,
Yeah.
it was Herschel Walker, it was Ray J. Carter, Ezra Ware,
RJ.
Big RJ, and that was like the core of it.
That was the core, right?
That was like the core of it right there. And that was the starting five. And then we had a couple other people that was solid.
Of course.
But yeah, that was 11, 12. That's who I ran with. You know what I mean? And we used to compete against everybody, and it was just that squad, and it really felt like I used to say it was like a basketball gang, like, because you never would go anywhere else to play. You had to play for Dunbar. And if you did, you kind of, yo, why you playing with them? You know, they would kind of look at you a little different.
So let's move on to the 13-14 year. Now you're a little bit older.
Right.
And you definitely have a better understanding of the game.
Right.
Was that same core together at that time, if you remember?
Yeah, that core, and that core was together, and I think we were getting, you know what I mean, we're growing,
Yep.
reaching puberty, everybody's getting bigger,
Yep.
stronger, faster.
Yep.
And I remember it was a summer when I came back. It was the first year I went to 5-star camp.
Okay.
So I went to 5-star camp.
Where was that at?
It was in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
So I went to 5-star camp, and you know, it was me and Andre Roberson, who was a little younger,
Yep.
went to Cathedral. We went there, we came back. So when we were at the 5-star, we were playing against like NBA players that are in the NBA now. So it really gave us like a boost of confidence. And I remember we came back. The same day we came back, we had a game in the back against, it was Little Dunbar versus Big Dunbar.
Oh, yeah.
So it was Mike Rux versus Charles Rux, and he had, you know, Shea, Vache,
Shaka and all them.
all those dudes.
Yep.
And I remember we came back, and it was me, Ray J, Andre, that core team, and we ran them out the gym, ran them out the back right here.
was there.
You was there, yeah. And I remember that, and now we were like 14.
Right.
But I think that was like a real like shift in the team, and where we really got confident. And you know, myself, I felt like I got a lot better that summer, and that's when I kind of started like looking at ball like, okay, I can do something with it.
So with that thought, and that's a great transition, how did you shape your game and your mindset around your game once you determined that this is something you can do? You can make basketball a vehicle for success.
How did I shape my mindset?
And your game.
Yeah, so I think just getting more confident in my game. You know, when I was competing with people that I was kind of looking up to at 11, 12, and now you're 13, 14 and you're beating them, you realize, okay, I'm getting better, I'm doing something right. So I think doing that, and then, you know, joining the AAU team and going to the 5-star camps, I realized that I had a shot at maybe, you know, getting a scholarship or something.
So now when you were playing informally, right, not practicing with the team, you're playing pickup wherever you may be, were you
Right.
still working on your game? Were you like working on your steals as opposed to trying to score every basket? Were you working on your block out, or
Nah.
you wouldn't do it? Okay, so
Nah, not too
it
much,
was
not
more
too much.
So it was more of a thought process of how you're going to improve?
It was just not, I think it came down to not knowing about the training aspect. So I grew up and all I knew was to play.
Right, right.
Whether it's in the backyard with my brothers, Dunbar,
Right.
all I knew was pick up, let's play,
Okay.
compete.
Okay.
So I never really I never had a personal trainer.
Right, right.
I never had, you know, I would work on
Skill
moves.
sets.
I would work on moves that I would see at home or in the basement, in the backyard, but
Right.
it was no like formal training.
Right,
There
right.
was no formal training. So, yeah, it was just, I think I learned my game from just playing.
Talk a little bit about the night games. Well,
It was
before I even go there, let's set it up so folks understand about the night games. Night games were not your two referees and things of that nature. It was a pickup game
Right.
where players were invited to come on over
Yeah.
and play against Dunbar players, and we would fuse the teams and really get it in under the lights. So
And
explain a little bit about it.
It was late night too. It was like 11 at night, 10, 11 at night. And I remember first coming with my brothers and Vache and Tyron and everybody. And then it kept growing.
Yep.
And, you know, it had some crazy battles. Like everybody used to come down. It was you know, Sean O'Geary, who went on to Wichita State.
That's right.
Everybody
Sedale
used to come out there.
Jones out of
Sedale
Pittsfield.
Jones out of Pittsfield.
Mass.
And we would just get after it. And you know, from 10 to 1 in the morning, we would just get after it.
Right.
And I used to look forward to it. You know what I mean? At that age, you could be into something else.
You said that that's some of the things that the young people are missing. Why do you think they're missing it now? Is it attributed to youth violence, or?
I think that might be a part of it, but also the AAU. I think the AAU, especially at a younger age, where I'm talking like 13, 14, even younger, it controls their whole life. You know what I'm saying? It controls their whole summer. They don't want to do anything outside of their AAU team, which is, I think, hurting the kids in general because, you know, you're going to practice 2 times a week, and then what are you doing for the rest of the time? You know what I mean? You're either with a trainer, a personal trainer, but you're not getting that competitiveness. You're not putting the things that you're training into the game and learning how to play. So I think the AAU world kind of stopped this.
Well, let's talk about AAU. You played AAU.
Right.
Who'd you play for?
I played for Shack Attack.
Right. Now, that was what? That was.
So I started Shack Attack when I was 8th grade. I was 8th grade when I started, and I played with them all the way through. And you know, Art Thomas,
Yep.
Stanley Wright were the coaches. Great guys.
Yep.
Great guys. You know, still people I keep in contact with today. But looking back on what I know now,
Yeah.
I would have played for TJ Gassinola, who ran the Players
The
Academy,
Adidas-sponsored
the
team.
Adidas sponsor team.
And why do you say that?
Just because, you know, when I was in 9th grade, he asked me to play for him, and I don't think he had the best name around Springfield. And you know, a lot of people said, "Don't play with him, don't play with him." But looking back on it, their teams were in the right tournaments. And what I mean by the right tournaments, his teams was in front of scouts, in front of college coaches, D1 to D3. Whereas Shack Attack, we weren't. You know, you had to win nationals in order to get in front of a couple coaches.
That's right.
With his team, you're in front of college coaches every game. So you can have one game, really, and it'll get you a scholarship.
Okay. So, but let's be very specific here. So, are you saying that coaching or being a part of an organization where there's alleged criminal activity, irresponsibility, no supervision, does getting a scholarship trump those type of situations?
I mean, that's AAU.
Baby, let me go. Turn me loose from your love. Baby, let me go. Turn me loose from your love.
We're at the grounds of New Leadership Charter School.
Yeah.
This is where you
This is where,
did your bid of high school.
yeah, for the most part. So,
Talk to us a little bit about this area. As we know, the buildings tell us a little bit, because the ornaments are gone.
if you can picture it, it was like back here was probably like 12 trailers, and they were all attached into like a little like school, really. And then in the back we had they put up a couple portable basketball hoops. But yeah, that was it. So it was the whole school, middle school, high school, all within this little trailers right here.
The athletic side of things, you guys formulated your varsity team your senior year.
Right.
You had a host of Division I schools that you played against. Actually, at that time, I was coaching at Site Tech. I know we had you guys on the schedule.
Yeah.
And what was that like? You coming out your senior year, you prepared yourself playing against freshmen, your 9th grade year, and so forth, and the half schedules.
Yeah.
Now you're here, big stage, New Leadership. What was the Cats? What were you guys? Wildcats.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So you guys come out. What's it like?
It was nothing but excitement, and we as a team, we kind of had a chip on our shoulders because we knew we should have been competing, you know, with Division I's, and we could compete. I'm not saying we was a D1 state championship team, but we felt like we could compete. So when we got our schedule, when we realized it was a full 20-game schedule, I mean, for me, it was just like, all right, I got to show, you know what I'm saying? I got to show what I can do, because I was really just doing it against Division III. My junior year, I was doing it mostly against Division III teams. So once we got the full schedule, I knew, like, you know, we had Commerce on the schedule, we had Central on the schedule. So I know I kind of marked those games on the calendar, like I gotta show out here. You know what I mean? And prove that I belong with these other dudes.
You guys went on that year to go to. You went through the. Tell us, you went through the Western Mass and you ended up in the States. Give us a little bit about.
Yeah, that whole senior year was kind of it was different for us, because that senior year we got Jerome Greer, who's from Rhode Island. Actually, sorry, he's from Connecticut. So he played in Connecticut. Then he played at Bryant. So he joined the coaching staff that senior year. And, you know, thank God he did, because he helped me out a lot from my senior year on. So we got the full schedule. You know what I mean? He brought a lot of stuff that he learned from college into our system, what we were doing. So that year we were winning. We were competing against Division I teams. We won a couple games. We lost to a couple of the better teams, but we were competing. You know what I mean? We felt good. Division III, we were killing Division III.
Right.
We were
you
killing.
guys ended up winning the Western Mass Championship.
We won
right?
the Western Mass Championship.
Who'd you
So
play?
we played.
Was it Whitewater, I think?
No, it was. I forget the name of the team.
Was it close
But
game?
so
Or?
no. For the Western Mass, we kind of ran through that.
Okay.
It was. I think it was St. Joe's out of Pittsfield. I want to say. We ran through that, but then we played Whitensville Christian.
That's who it is, Whitensville.
We played them at the UMass.
Cage.
UMass, not the Cage. It was the big one.
Oh.
The Mullen Center. Mullen Center. So we played them there. They had 2 6, 7 kids that went on. One went on D1. They had a guard who went D2. The other big went D2.
Safe to say they were pretty.
So we were the underdog. We were the underdog, but we came out gritty. Daniel MacGyver had a good game. Willie Cuffey, Reggie, everyone played well. So we beat them, and then we went on the states. So the state tournament, we played Rockland, and Rockland was they was a team to beat. They had a kid, Joe Coppins, who was really good, 6'4", like shooter, guard. So we ended up losing that game by 3 at the buzzer.
Right. So now I want to talk a little bit about, and I know it may be sensitive for you, Reggie Cunningham?
Rich Cunningham. Rich Cunningham.
Tell us a little bit about Rich Cunningham. You understand what I mean when it's a little sensitive.
So he was one of my best boys, my best friends growing up. He was he was a starting power forward on the team since 7th grade. He was a starting power forward. So once I was a sophomore in college, he ended up dying in South Carolina. And it's still unsolved. They don't know what kind of happened. No. It was a gun involved. So it's still unsolved. They really don't know. They said it was self-inflicted, but no one kind of knows.
Doesn't sound like it.
No one knows. So
Okay.
yeah. So rest in peace to him, man, because
Right.
that was one of my best
I know.
guys.
Yeah. Everybody.
That was one of my. He was a good dude. He was a real good dude.
Let me go. I'm in you, baby. I'm your love. I got to tell you, listen this. I know I'm in you.
All right, Yusuf. We've talked a lot today.
I know.
New leadership.
Yep.
You know, your homeschooling. We talked about Dunbar.
Yeah.
You know, we're winding it down now to probably the most important part of your life when we talk about postgraduate, being
Right.
a graduate of Bentley College.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about your journey from new leadership
Yep.
into receiving a scholarship at Bentley College.
Yeah. So I mentioned it earlier. So I really only played 1 full year of high school basketball. You know, so a lot of my exposure or lack thereof came from AAU.
Yeah.
But again, I wasn't really on the right teams to really draw a lot of attention in terms of recruitment. So, like I said, Jerome Greer, who was he played at Bryant.
Right.
So after the season was over, he started reaching out to a bunch of schools, D1, D3, D2, and even prep schools. And at that time, I didn't really know a lot about the recruitment.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what was going on. I'm waiting around like, oh, I'm gonna go somewhere, but I didn't really have any active schools reaching out to me. I had Springfield College, who came down a couple times, and I talked to them, the coach over there. I had a couple other Division IIIs, but so Jerome kind of brought me around, and he brought me to Bentley. So he picks me up, brings me from Bentley to Bentley College, and I get there, and I wake up. I'm in the car for the drive, and I get there, and they're getting ready to play pickup. So I'm like, all right, yeah, this is cool. Like, go play with the team. All right. So I start playing with the team, and I'm doing pretty well. You know what I mean? Holding my own against some of their players that they have there, and I'm competing, hitting some shots, getting some steals, playing. Overall a good day. I'm not thinking anything of it. So then, once we're done playing, the head coach comes. He's like, yo, come with me to upstairs. So I'm like, all right. So I go upstairs. He's talking about the school. He's giving me his whole spiel about the school. And little did I know, he's offered me a scholarship from seeing me play that one day.
Wow. What'd you study at Bentley?
I studied business management at Bentley. And it was a lot of culture shock when I got to Bentley for the first year, just because it was different than Springfield and the people that I knew. It was majority white people, and I come from a school where it's all black. Come from a community center that's all black. So it was an adjustment. It was an adjustment period. That first year, socially it was. Academically, it was a huge adjustment period, where you're at a school where they're known for their academics. So I had to get in line. I had to change. I had to sacrifice some things, whether it was social life,
Right.
to stay in school. To get a C or a B. Like I said, I wasn't the best student in high school. Study habits were a little shaky, so I had to work on stuff like that.
So did you fall back on Coach Jerome about preparing yourself for this type of situation, knowing that he had played college ball and about the transition?
He definitely prepared me. He prepared me about the academics, more athletics. The academics, I just had to. It was like a trial and error type thing, where you're, some classes you're getting, some classes, all right, I need to work on this next semester. I need to put some time away for that. So that was like the social and academic side, and the athletic side, basketball side of things, it was just a complete opposite of what I was doing at New Leadership.
Speak to that. What do you mean? Like
so what I said,
of it, or what
the
are you saying?
structure and being prepared. Looking back on it now, I didn't play my first 2 years, and I always wondered what was it. It was because I didn't know how to handle a legit college practice. I didn't know terminologies. I didn't know certain schemes that you should pick up.
That's right.
And things that maybe you learn in prep school or high school. We didn't really have those type of schemes. So I was a little behind the 8 ball mentally, but physically, like playing wise, I could do it. So I always struggle with that first 2 years where it's like my skill set, I should have been on the court, I should have been playing, but knowing how to play in a system, knowing how to rotate the third rotation, the second rotations, all this stuff, I didn't really have that down pat. And I think that's what kind of stunted my growth for Bentley.
Now, you had correct me if I'm wrong, you had an All-American point guard
Yeah.
you were behind.
Yep.
And so you had great time. You said 2 seasons.
Yeah, I sat
And
2
when you
seasons.
say-
I sat 2
But,
seasons.
I mean, you played some. You just played minimal.
I didn't play.
Yeah,
I barely played. It was garbage minutes.
Right.
So I didn't really play. But I was getting better because I was practicing against these guys. Tim Forbes and Sean Cook. Those were the two kids that were the elite guards in the conference. Like I said, Tim Forbes, he was the player of the year for the conference.
He played on your team?
He played on my team. So he was a junior when I was a freshman. So I sat behind those two for 2 years. And, you know, like I went back to my Dunbar days where I'm observing, learning what they're doing.
That's right.
I'm learning the system. So when it was my time, I was prepared.
Right now, according to our records, you went 66-2. 2 losses in both national championship games.
Yeah.
You were ranked #1 in the country at Division II level for 2 seasons in a row.
Yeah.
I think you were very prepared. And so tell us some of the challenges about accomplishing those things I just mentioned.
So going into that season, we shot out of a gun. We won we won every game leading up to the Elite Eight, and we lost to Winona State.
That was in the championship.
That was in the Elite Eight. We lost in the Elite Eight that year.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay.
And you know, we were undefeated, ranked #2. Winona State was #1.
Oh, that's right.
Winona State was #1. We were #2. So then the following year, we did the same thing again. Went through the whole regular season, undefeated. Some close battles with other teams, but we made it to the Final Four this year, and then we had to play Winona State again.
Yeah.
And this year, my senior year, we were #1 going into it. They ended up losing a regular season game, so we battled with them. We were up like 6-7 points, and they ended up beating us in the end.
Right.
But both of those games was right here in Springfield,
Yep.
right at the Mass Mutual Center.
Yep. Bentley, you know, you get through it. You know,
Mhm.
you as you said, you competed, you
Yeah.
won your spot, you played high-level competition.
Yeah,
You were nationally recognized, you know, as a team.
yeah.
And now we are with City of Guards.
Yeah.
You are the founder and owner of
Yeah.
City of Guards. Talk a little bit about City of Guards.
City of Guards is it's pretty much a nonprofit organization where I try to put on events so I can raise money and give scholarships back to kids from Springfield or Western Mass area. Deserving kids, whether it's in the classroom or on the court, we try to give them scholarships to, you know, once they go to college. First scholarship that I gave was to Tyrell Springer, who went on, and he's graduated now, but that was my first scholarship that I gave out. And
Last year
just
was
seeing, last year was Callie Kavanaugh, who's at FSU or FIU. And then the year before was Riyad Assad, who finished up this year. So, you know, just seeing that I was able to give back, and then also give back to the community by providing something where they can go to for the summer, it was huge because, I mean, me growing up, I had the school field to look forward to. Now I feel like a lot of the kids look forward to the Who You Got one-on-one tournament.
Is there anything that you may see in the near future that you perhaps want to add to it, or even take away from it?
I think just adding the training and camps and bringing resources from outside of Springfield into Springfield. So whether that's trainers, coaches, scouts, whatever the case may be, I think just adding that, so, you know, now Springfield has a platform. Yeah.
Any last words that you have for everyone, City of Guards, new leadership, Bentley?
No,
Dunbar,
man.
homeschool? I mean, you kind of gave it all to us.
Yeah, I hope you could take something from it. You know, that's all it's about. Whether you're a parent or a student, you know, take something from it and see what you can do, see what you can add into your day, your life or whatever. But, you know, we've all been through similar things. Everybody's trying to become, you know, trying to move on. If you're in the basketball world, you're trying to get that scholarship or play pro. So give yourself a chance and take something from this, take something from somebody else's story and learn from that. And August 17th, I hope everybody's there.
Well, Eddie Anderson, Bottom Line Sports, glad to be in collaboration with City of Guards for
Let me
Make
go.
Sure You're
Turn me
There.
loose from your love, baby. Let me go. Turn me loose, baby, from your love. I got to tell you, listen this. I don't want me loose. I don't want me loose. I don't want me loose. Want me loose. I don't want me loose. Want me loose. I don't want me loose.
Hello, my name is Will Dawkins. Thanks for giving me a few minutes of your time to share my story with you guys. I'm happy and honored to be able to do this. I was born and raised in Springfield, Massachusetts. Went to Milton Bradley Elementary School just down the street, then went on to Forest Park Middle School before attending the High School of Commerce. Back in 2004, we were fortunate enough to do some pretty special things. Won the Western Mass title, and then went on to win the state title, which was really important to me to bring that back to the city. So while I was one of the best players in the state at the time, I didn't realize that that wasn't good enough, because I was only working hard enough to outwork the peers near me. I didn't realize that basketball was being judged on a national level, and now even more so on a global level. So while the Division I offers didn't come, fortunately, my mom always pressed academics. She's a middle school teacher, elementary school teacher for over 30 years. Maybe some of you guys had her, Mrs. Cato. So while it wasn't easy to stay on my academics and I had my ups and downs, I kind of stayed with it and kept myself eligible. So by the time my guidance counselors worked with me and other schools started looking at me at Division II and Division III, I was able to go to Emerson College in downtown Boston and get my degree in broadcast journalism. And while I didn't use that degree, another door opened while I was there. And it's only because I was in that situation and put myself in place to receive the blessing to where my coach at the end of my 4 years hooked me up with an internship with the Seattle Supersonics. And from that day forward, I realized that I wasn't going to let another opportunity go past me because I wasn't working my hardest. So kind of put my head down, and fortunately, 11 years later, I look up, I'm with the Oklahoma City Thunder as assistant general manager and vice president of basketball identification and intelligence. So my story that I just want to share with you guys is the world is much bigger than Springfield, Massachusetts. And don't limit yourself, don't limit your thinking to being small. Seek opportunities, try different things, and at the end of the day, when you get that opportunity, don't let anyone take it away and try your hardest, because at the time I thought I was working hard, but I really wasn't, and I was letting opportunities get by me. So I wish you guys all the best. Feel free to reach out to me if you guys need anything. I'm proud to try to support all of you guys and help you out wherever I can. Thank you.